Otto Hahn was a German chemist who made important discoveries in science. He is best known for his work in nuclear chemistry, especially for his discovery of nuclear fission, which changed the world of science and technology forever. His discoveries helped lead to the development of nuclear energy, and they had a big impact on the history of the 20th century. Otto Hahn was born on March 8, 1879, in Frankfurt, Germany. He grew up in a family that valued education, and from a young age, he was encouraged to study and learn. Otto was very interested in science, especially chemistry. He went to school in Frankfurt and then went to university to study chemistry at the University of Marburg. Later, he continued his studies at the University of Berlin. At the University of Berlin, Otto Hahn met other scientists who influenced his career. He worked with important professors who taught him about the world of chemistry and research. During his studies, he realized that he wanted to make new discoveries and contribute to the world of science. After finishing his studies, Otto Hahn started working in different research laboratories. One of the most important places he worked was at the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Chemistry in Berlin. It was here that Otto began his most famous work in chemistry. In the early 1900s, scientists were still learning about the structure of atoms and the elements that make up matter. Otto Hahn became interested in studying radioactive elements. Radioactivity is a process where some elements give off energy in the form of radiation. Otto worked with radioactive materials and discovered important facts about how they behave. Otto Hahn's most important contribution to science was his discovery of nuclear fission in 1938. Nuclear fission is the process where the nucleus of an atom splits into smaller parts, releasing a lot of energy. This discovery was groundbreaking because it showed scientists that it was possible to create a large amount of energy from very small amounts of matter. Otto Hahn and his colleague, Fritz Strassmann, were working together in their laboratory when they made this discovery. They were studying uranium, a radioactive element, and when they bombarded uranium atoms with neutrons, they found that the atoms split into smaller parts. This was the first time anyone had observed nuclear fission. The discovery was so important that it changed the way scientists thought about nuclear energy. The work of Otto Hahn and his colleagues was crucial to the development of nuclear power. After their discovery, scientists began to realize that they could use nuclear fission to create energy, which led to the creation of nuclear reactors. Later, the discovery also played a role in the development of nuclear weapons during World War II. Otto Hahn's work in nuclear chemistry was important during World War II, but his life was also affected by the war. Hahn was a pacifist, which means he believed that wars should not be fought and that peace was the best solution. However, during the war, many countries were interested in using nuclear energy for military purposes. In Germany, Otto Hahn was asked to work on the country's nuclear research program, but he was not comfortable with the idea of using nuclear energy for weapons. He was worried about the destruction that could be caused by nuclear bombs. Despite this, he continued his work and made important discoveries in his field. After the war, Otto Hahn was concerned about how nuclear technology had been used. He believed that scientists should use their knowledge for peaceful purposes, not for making weapons of destruction. He spoke out about the dangers of nuclear weapons and worked to promote peaceful uses of nuclear energy. In his later years, Otto Hahn continued to work and contribute to science. He became a well-known figure in the scientific community and was recognized for his important discoveries. In 1944, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his work on nuclear fission. This was a huge honor and showed how important his work had been to science. After receiving the Nobel Prize, Otto Hahn continued to work on research related to nuclear chemistry. He also spoke about the ethical use of science and the responsibility that scientists have in using their discoveries for the benefit of humanity. He believed that scientists should be careful about how their work was used, especially when it came to powerful technologies like nuclear energy. Otto Hahn was also involved in organizations that promoted peaceful uses of science. He became a member of the German Atomic Energy Commission and worked to ensure that nuclear energy was used safely and for good purposes. He also encouraged international cooperation in science, believing that scientists from different countries should work together to solve global problems. Otto Hahn's discoveries have had a lasting impact on the world. His work in nuclear chemistry helped pave the way for the development of nuclear energy, which has been used for electricity generation and medical purposes. Nuclear fission also had a major influence on the development of nuclear weapons, which changed the course of history during World War II and the Cold War. However, Otto Hahn's legacy is not just about the discoveries he made in science. He is also remembered for his strong belief in the peaceful use of nuclear energy. He wanted to ensure that science was used for the benefit of humanity, and that the power of nuclear energy was not misused. His efforts to promote peace and cooperation in science have inspired many scientists to consider the ethical implications of their work. Otto Hahn passed away on July 28, 1968, at the age of 89. He left behind a legacy of scientific discovery and a message about the importance of using science for good. His contributions to chemistry and nuclear science continue to be studied and admired by scientists around the world. Otto Hahn was a brilliant scientist who made discoveries that changed the world. His work on nuclear fission was one of the most important scientific achievements of the 20th century. While his discoveries were used in both peaceful and dangerous ways, Hahn believed that science should be used for the good of humanity. He dedicated his life to finding solutions to scientific problems, and his work continues to influence science today. Otto Hahn's legacy reminds us that science can be powerful, but it must always be used responsibly and with care for the future of the world.